have the Honourable Prime Minister himself, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, in his capacity as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and member of Parliament for Diego Martin West.
And continuing.
Thank you very much, Lady of Ceremonies, my parliamentary colleague, my ministerial colleague, Minister of Social Development, and of course, councillors. I see 3 councillors here from Diego Martin West, Chairman of the Diego Martin Corporation, our Honourees, family members, children, members of the media. For a moment there, I thought Dr. Rouse was going to introduce me as the entertainment. Knowing that I have spent so much of my time with people who have been fortunate to have grown well beyond the 70, that maybe she probably thought that I was the appropriate person to entertain them. But I must tell you that these are very special moments for me, and today is a very special day for me. I grew up with my grandparents since I was 1 year old, and I knew my grandparents and their friends. And I have a very special affinity to people who have grown old, living the life and enjoying it. And I too have been taking 2 cod liver tablets. So I hope that I would be as fortunate as these ladies and gentlemen to have the honor and the pleasure of living a good life for so long and representing to us what has been said and been promised. For those of us who read the Bible, it says that man's life is 3 scores and 10, but very, very many don't make any scores. But it also says that by reason of strength, you can get to 4 scores. But even these special people, with such special strengths, have gone a whole score beyond that. And for that alone, we should congratulate them for looking after themselves. There's one of them who I know very, very well, because she has a party every year. And I remember the first party, which was 100. We had a family party in the Carronage, and it was full. All these grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Center was full. And I came in late from some other function, and I got there like about 8:30 or thereabouts. And I was enjoying the carryings on, and the family was doing all kinds of things, singing and dancing and putting on skits and so on, entertaining her. And then I got tired. I wanted to go home by about 10 o'clock. And I think the others got tired. And guess who didn't want to go home? Party had to continue. She was sitting in this royal chair, this fabric chair. And she sat there regally, yes. And we all had to wait. Eventually, I had to leave because she was having such a rollicking good time. And every year, we acknowledge her birthday in Carronage as one of the highlights of the community. And I'm very pleased to have been participating in that. And of course, that is Bartholomew from Covine. When I first went to see her, I expected that they will take me to a bedroom or see somebody. The lady walked out and greeted me, and I couldn't believe I was talking to a person who had lived for 100 years. And her memory was as good as ever. And she gave me my first insight into coming to live in the cocoa estates of Covine, when Covine was in fact an agricultural area where there were a few houses, and it was all about harvesting, growing cocoa. And she gave me such an enlightening thesis on the area today you probably won't find a single cocoa tree in Covey. And of course, I was very pleased to hear that there were others in the community who had achieved this great milestone in life. These people would have seen our country in a way that very many others have never seen. They would have lived through the Second World War, and at least one of them, two of them, would have lived through the First World War as well. Two of the most historical events in modern times, they would have lived through those periods. They would have lived in Trinidad and Tobago when food was rationed. I'm not going to tell you that I saw a ration card. I knew when food was rationed in this country. And there used to be a card, it was blue, and you go and get your rice, and then they'll tick it off so you can't come back because the card was used. And they knew when government vehicles drove around this country, probably the first Land Rovers in Trinidad and Tobago, and on the doors of those vehicles were the health insignia. And the program was the Yaws Eradication Program, where there was a program in this country to treat with an affliction that was commonplace and had to be eradicated. They would have known when the only schools in this country were schools run by the denominational bodies. There were no government schools. They would have known when the first government school was built in this country. And these are moments of history that we all take for granted or disregard as unimportant. It's a pity that we have not been able to record in a digestible way what they would have to say to us. But maybe it's not too late, because today it's so much easier. The technology allows us to do it more easily. And I would want to commend to the Department of Aging that you have these conversations, record them, and eventually the scholars will put them together as authentic expressions of the people who travel the road that many of us will never travel, which is the road at the beginning of the occupation of this modern Trinidad and Tobago. Today, we in Diego Martin West don't want to say that good things are in the West, because if they were in the East, they came from the East and they went West. So there may be a few more in the East, we don't know. But if they do have Centenarians in the East, we congratulate you all. But find them and let us as a nation, as a people, acknowledge them. Because I must tell you, looking after themselves to have reached 100 years old is in fact a fantastic achievement. To look after oneself to get to 100 years old. And to be up and about as they are, I think we really should be proud to have them as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It's interesting to hear what they eat, because I'm sure if you talk to them about the diet, especially in their early and active days, they will tell you that that diet was one about the good food, not bought from boxes with grease and fat, and not imported in packs with salt and whatever. They grew what they ate, and they ate what they grew, and I'm sure they had some good fish when they caught that, and they had some good drum provision, seasoned by the local condiments, and of course, they will tell you there was no place for laziness in their life. Good hard work, good for some people, most people, maybe everybody. Physical activity keeps the human body in shape all the way across the 70 in many instances. So today, I want to acknowledge these outstanding constituents of mine and feel particularly proud to have represented them for quite some time and to have known them personally in some instances. And to congratulate the families who provide them with that very special and extra care as they get to 106, 107, maybe to 114. or wherever they would go, as God wishes. I want to thank the family for looking after them because they're very special to us. And I want to thank the Department of Aging for taking the assignment so seriously that as soon as I think it was a text message I sent to Dr. Rouse, I sent her a text saying that I have these very special people and I'm sure that she will want to join me in acknowledging them. And she took it over from there. And I'm very grateful that you were able to acknowledge. And as we go down, as we go along the road of nationhood, more and more people hopefully be living longer and enjoying a quality of life worthy of that accomplishment. And therefore, as we plan the nation's business, we have to plan for more and more of our citizens moving towards 70 and beyond. And there are certain special requirements with respect to budgeting, with respect to infrastructure, with respect to family life and family care. And that's why the ministry that my colleague here runs is called the Ministry of Social Services and Family Services, Social Development and Family Services, because there are certain family services that are required to ensure that these people, these special people, and all those who look towards a long and healthy life, and sometimes it's not very healthy, but it could be long, and the challenges of health come with age. The Social Service Department and Family Service Department would have to play a more and more important role to ensure that in the golden years, they do enjoy a quality of life of which we can all be proud. So thank you all very much for this little function. Thank the media for coming, and I hope that you will highlight our centenarians here in Dago Martin.